Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and yeah, this video is going to offend some people. Strap yourselves in, lads, because I'm about to piss off your club. Or not, maybe you'll agree with me. Not bloody likely. We will see. What I'm doing today, alright, is taking a look at one player who was too good for your team when they were there.
Oh, but Irish guy, no player is too big for the club.
Just watch the video, alright, and see if you agree, alright? You might. It's not like I'm saying Francis Jeffers is too good for Everton, for Christ's sake. Oh, by the way, this time span is just going back to 1992. Because you're goddamn right, I'm not trawling back to the 30s for Bournemouth's rapid left back. Oh, by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it is here. So, yeah, just let me know how much of a gowl I am after this video. Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez. I mean, he didn't play a f***ing note of that. He's a great big phony. So, I've already got this video off to a great start. Arsenal fans will want to cut me in my sleep. But listen, I think some of you might have even realized that that man outgrew you some time ago.
If Alexis goes in the next 5 days, I'm going to clap him off. Bye-bye. Go on, off you go. I wish you luck where you do, because he don't deserve it.
Yes, Sanchez's performance at Old Trafford resembles something you might produce after a couple of pizzas and half a case of laxatives. But at Arsenal, he was carrying the team and still finished 3rd, 2nd and 5th. I mean, come on. Bournemouth, Rio Ferdinand. Back in the mid-90s, Rio Ferdinand was the original Reece Oxford. Well, not really. Rio would actually go on and do something with his career, while Reece will probably be down working in Tesco's in 5 years' time, telling anyone that'll listen that he once marked Mesut Ozil. That is such a dickhead comment. He's still only 19. You don't even want to know what I was doing when I was 19. Anyway, in 1996, Ferdinand played 10 games on loan at Bournemouth from West Ham when they were in League One. Yeah, he was only 18 years old, but still. Brighton, Bobby Zamora. Bobby Zamora, too good for any club. Was my porridge spiked with f***ing bath salts? Alright, hear me out, lads. We all know Zamora signed for Brighton about 7 times in his career. I'm not talking about when he signed for them in 2015, alright? When he was about 55 and had a cholesterol the size of Texas. When the ball hits your head and you're sitting in Rosette, that's Zamora. Alright, back in the early 2000s, he scored 28 goals to help Brighton out of League 2. Then he scored 28 goals to help them out of League 1. Then he scored 14 goals when they got relegated from the Championship. He was too good. Tottenham signed him fairly quickly after that. Burnley, Danny Ings. Danny Ings. This doesn't... I think I regret doing this video already. I mean, Ings just doesn't really feel good enough to have ever been too good for anyone. For Christ's sake, he'd be doing well to get a game for Burnley now. But anyway, last time they were relegated from the Premier League, back in 14-15, well done on not sacking Sean Dyche, by the way. Ings scored 11 goals and was one of their only shining lights from that season. Cardiff City, Craig Bellamy. Okay, does anyone remember how mental it was when Craig Bellamy waltzed out of Man City in the summer of 2010, having scored 11 goals from the wing the previous season, including 2 at Old Trafford, only to then drop down a division to hometown club Cardiff City. Sure, he was getting squeezed out of the Etihad, fine, but he had offers on the table from Premier League clubs. Anyway, he went and scored 11 goals in the Championship and then earned himself a move to Liverpool, proving that no, he wasn't a Championship player. Chelsea, GIANFRANCO Zola. Okay, out of all the teams in this list, this was the hardest.
Giggity.
You don't understand. Considering Chelsea, bar 1 or 2 seasons here and there, have been pretty consistent since Roman Abramovich chucked his wallet at the club 15 years ago, it was just almost impossible to find one. Look, Gianfranco Zola was very successful at Chelsea, right? He won a bunch of trophies, but this was between the years of 96 and 03, so pre-Russian makeover. He finished 3rd once and outside the Champions League spots 4 times. The Italian was a genius. Was he too good for Chelsea? I don't, honestly, this was just a tough one. Like, lads, you tell me if you can think of a better one, because I honestly can't.
Celestine Babayaro.
Get out. Crystal Palace, WILFRIED, ZAHA. Wait, hang on. Can you hear that? They're coming. They're coming! No, I'm not talking about Nigel Pearson's son and his mates. It's the Crystal Palace fans, who are no doubt arming themselves with a bunch of pitchforks and furiously stabbing their computer screens. Not the brightest bunch. If WILFRIED ZAHA sees out his 5-year deal, he will be at Selhurst Park when he's 30 years old. Sorry, Palace, no disrespect. I mean, you're gonna hate me anyway. But watching ZAHA in a perennial relegation battle for the entirety of his career, he's like seeing that hot TV wife who's bizarrely married to that fat slob with erectile dysfunction. Everton Wayne Rooney. Watching Wayne Rooney return to Goodison Park last season, strolling around the pitch like an out-of-breath postman. Honest to God, that man looked like the poster boy for diabetes. It was it was sort of sad. It was sort of like hooking up with your teenage girlfriend all those years later, except she's now piled on about 40 pounds, popped out about 6 kids, smells like death, and now sports love handles that could smother a family of 4. The years have not been kind to Rooney. Then again, he's always looked like someone who's just being slapped by a train. For those of you who are alive in 2004, which is probably about 30% of my fucking audience, I'm assuming most of the people watching the KSI Logan Paul fight were born after 2010. At least I hope so. Anyway, back 14 years ago, Rooney was ripping it up at Euro 2004 as a hairy-chested teenager. I swear to God, that man must have hit puberty at about 6 years old. Considering Everton had just stayed in the Premier League by the breadth of a pig's foreskin, not a chance was he ever going to stay there. Fulham, Edwin van der Sar. Ajax, Juventus, Manchester United, Fulham. Right, okay, 4 Eredivisie, 2 Champions Leagues, 4 Premier Leagues, an Intertoto Cup. Mark Overmars, Zinedine Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Zat Knight, oh for f***'s sake. Van der Sar was a world-class goalkeeper. Him spending 4 years at Craven Cottage is sort of like when you see Robert De Niro appear in Little Fockers. Although to be honest, that fella jumps at anything with a paycheck these days. Huddersfield Town, Jordan Rhodes. Jordan Rhodes was once too good for Huddersfield. Huddersfield, who are now in the Premier League. Jordan Rhodes, who is probably 2 failed career moves away from washing cars down the local petrol station. Since Town and Rhodes were an item, Huddersfield have gone from strength to strength, but he did score 71 goals for them across 3 seasons in League One. Long viewed as one of the finest strikers in the Football League. He actually scored 40 goals in his last season in all competitions for them, before getting signed by Blackburn, where he went and scored a lot of goals in the Championship. Look, at the time, he was too good for Huddersfield. Nowadays, they use him to put the f***ing cones out in training. Leicester City, Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez finally got his move to City, so he can finally shut the f*** up about it. Look, I know what Leicester fans are going to say.
How can he be too good for us when we literally won the league?
Because you have Danny Simpson right back, alright? Liverpool, Luis Suarez. 6th, 8th, 7th, 2nd, and 1 Carling Cup.
Hooray!
That was the extent of Luis Suarez's 3.5 years at Anfield. I'm not even going to say anything to this. I'm just going to ask you Liverpool fans, do you think, you tell me, alright? You saw Suarez up close every week. Did those finishes reflect Suarez's talent? Being stuck in a team with Stuart Downing, Fabio Borini, and Andy Carroll, Man City, NICOLAS, ANELKA. Many of you might not remember what Man City were like prior to the takeover. I would liken them to a barrel of pig feces. Come on lads, Georgios Samaras and Bernardo Corradi up front, Joy Barton as your top scorer. You know, he wasn't using his teammates' eyeballs as a ashtray, and teenagers as punching bags. ANELKA is to transfers what Craig Shakespeare is to donuts. Well, he signed for City in 2002, another notch on the belt, spent 2.5 years there and scored 45 goals. Now, modern fans might think,
oh, big deal, Aguero can do that in 1 season with his eyes closed.
And what I would say to that is don't speak out of turn. Yes, that was me slapping a child. Sunday school. But back then, this is what ANELKA had to work with. Like, does this look like fun to you? 16th, Danny Mills. And Robbie Fowler, who was rapidly beginning to lose a visual relationship with his toes. Man United, David De Gea.
Manchester United is the biggest club that ever lived, right? How dare I even mention them in a list such as this? It's a privilege to play for that club.
No player is too big for them.
Alright, settle down, alright? Just calm it. I have found a player. Yes, alright, United is a massive club. You cannot tell me that David De Gea, a man who most of you spent the last 5 years tossing yourselves off to on a daily basis, is worthy of no league titles in half a decade. If it wasn't for Ed Woodward taking a mallet to a fax machine on deadline day, he would be at Real Madrid and Thibaut Courtois would be crying into his cornflakes in West London for the next 5 years. But come on, United fans, look me in the eye and tell me that your God, your Knight of Old Trafford, your Prince of Spain is worthy of 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 2nd?
But he won the Europa League.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Newcastle, Shay Given. Some of the younger viewers might only know Shay Given from his time at Aston Villa and Stoke, where admittedly it looked as though Stephen Hawking would have done a better job in goals. But somewhere before Euro 2012 and the emergence of Joe Hart, Given was one of the Premier League's best, and for 7 years was a perfect match on Tyneside. And then Sir Bobby was sacked, and he was forced to play on in front of some of the worst defenders I've ever had the misfortune of laying my eyes on. Titus Bramble, Christ above, that man should be tried for crimes against defending. Alright, look, the idea of a defence is to protect the goalkeeper. Christ above, Given received less protection than Charlie Sheen's dick on a night out. I shouldn't joke, he's very ill. I think the final straw was when Given received the Man of the Match award against Liverpool and still conceded 5 goals. What? Southampton, Gareth Bale. Southampton, where do I start? Right, well I'm not going to go with any Liverpool players, just, I can't be arsed. Instead, Gareth Bale, back when he looked like an extra from Planet of the Apes.
Dr. Sayers, Dr. Sayers. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Yes, he was only 17 years old, but hey, he was still one of the hottest prospects in English football and far too good for the championship. Hence why Tottenham stole him away in 2007 and then proceeded to dump him on the bench for the next 2 years. Tottenham, Luka Modric. Look, we all know who good Modric is, alright? He spent 4 seasons at Spurs in the same team as David Bentley and Jermaine Genius, for Christ's sake, and his personal silverware cabinet looked about as empty as my fridge. I'm so f***ing hungry. Watford, Ashley Young. In what world is Ashley Young ever too good for any football club of any description? I can already feel the Watford fans squeezing their ball sacks in utter fury. But don't, alright? I am going somewhere with this. Cast your mind back to the 06-07 season when Young was actually young. Back then he was lighting up the Premier League with Watford, one of their shining lights as they were stuck to the foot of the division, and they were able to hang on to him for about 6 months. West Ham, Carlos Tevez. That same season, Carlos Tevez was at West Ham. And I'm still not sure why. No disrespect to West Ham, I mean you are a fine club. But seeing Tevez being coached by Alan Pardew, it was like watching Jennifer Lawrence hook up with Bill the diabetic butcher who looks like a foot and smells like cheese. Wolves, Ruben Neves. There are many questions in the world that need answering. Why do identical twins have different fingerprints? Is the moon an enemy of the sun? Am I destined to forever be in this room? Why was Ruben Neves in the fucking championship last season? Alright, so that is the end of the video. How many of you have made it to the end without screaming in a fit of rage? Hands up. Nobody. There's literally nobody left. Just me talking to myself. That's literally how I started this channel anyway. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe. Twitter's here, and yeah, let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Let me know if I've got this all wrong. But if you have a player who you think was too good for your team, no one's gonna admit that. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.